All right. So sitting up nice and tall, close your eyes, relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw. If you've got any tension in your jaw, you can actually make little soft fists and bring it right in front of the ears and slide down towards your chin, relaxing your jaw while you do this. Relax your tongue. And relaxing your hands down onto your lap, closing your eyes. Taking a couple deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. Let's start today with some side body work. So side body is really important. It's an area that we don't often think about, like especially from like our armpit to the bottom of our rib cage. Especially as women, I feel like we kind of keep that area tightly closed. And I also feel like there's a lot that holding that comes from being kids. I know some kids that love to be tickled, and like my nieces and nephews beg me to tickle them. However, I don't think a lot of people are into it. And they still get tickled because it's like cute to tickle kids, even if the kids are like, please don't fucking tickle me. So there's this, and then, where do you get poked? They poke you in the ribs and then the underarms and kind of like in your neck. So there's this tightness that I feel like happens a lot. And I come across this a lot when I'm doing massage for people. If I go in with the wrong energy, if I come in a little too intense, like they're immediately triggered into a tickle fest, and I've just lost the battle at that point. And what I find is like this place is just so effed up on so many people. And we really need to be like, flapping our wings, opening our pits, doing the chicken dance, and just, yeah, opening that up because it is a connector between the shoulders and the hips, the upper body and the lower body. So when we address that area, we actually help release the low back, the hips, the legs, and the neck and shoulders. It's quite a valuable thing to do. So we're going to sit kind of side saddle on your right hip. Right knee's kind of pointed forward, left knee's off to the side there. And then we are going to rotate to the left and kind of grab hold of the ankle and the knee. So there's a rounding action, a caving action that happens in the chest and in the belly. And then I want you to think as if somebody has kind of grabbed hold of your shirt and they're pulling you not straight off to the right, but kind of towards the back right corner of the room. So there's this stretching of that where the back and the side body meet, reaching to the back of the room. And you relax your shoulders, relax your head here. You're using your hands just to hold you in place. And then that rib cage is sliding to the right and backwards. Head hangs. And you will feel this probably from your right low back sacrum all the way up through the rib cage, into the right shoulder blade, and right up through the right side of the neck and maybe into the ear. Notice that this right shoulder has a tendency to want to keep clenching up. It wants to squeeze up. So every breath or two, just be like, you can relax the shoulder. Keep that down. Let the head really hang. And the bigger you breathe here, the more you augment that inhale, the more stretch you're going to feel. So really thinking about the whole torso expanding as you inhale. And you'll roll up through the spine, bringing yourself nice and long. Square your chest to the right knee. And then just as if you are leaning up against a wall here, we're going to take the right arm up and then bend ourselves over to the left, keeping the chest open and the shoulder pulled back. I like to keep my thumb leading the way here. And then I bend the elbow, let the fingers drop down. Just notice if the body starts to do this, dropping forward, keep yourself pressed up against that imaginary wall. And if it starts to be way too intense in the arm, you're always welcome to bring the hand kind of onto the ear. Let the head hang. Relax that left shoulder down. And just notice how that right shoulder wants to tense up and keep pulling the shoulder blade down the back. And it's okay if your arm comes slightly in front of you, just as long as you don't roll forwards, because it can be quite intense to keep that arm right up over the ear. It might also feel good to really stay tense through the arm and reach through the fingertips. But again, don't let the shoulder go with the hand. Keep the shoulder down. So the shoulder pulls down and the fingers reach away. And you're going to reach the right arm up and let the right arm pull you back up center. And then we're going to twist away. Bring that right arm around behind your back, like you're going to grip for your left hip. And then it's kind of this like very cartoony action of like you're leaning back in shock, and it's like shock and horror from somebody. It's that kind of dramatic positioning. So you pull your chin into the base of your skull, and then you let the back of your head, the base of your skull, actually pull you backwards. And you're going to feel this through the front of the right shoulder, maybe down into the bicep, and then probably down in your right waistline as well. And then you'll lead with your head coming back up center, unwind the arm and just sit for a second, close your eyes, relax your shoulders down your back. Good. And then we'll swap sides, swinging those legs around. Side saddle on the left side. So left knee is pointing straight forward, right knee is kind of off to the side. We twist to look to the right leg. Hand grabs the knee and the ankle. Round the head, allow the belly and chest to carve inwards. And then as if somebody's got a hold of that kind of right where the side body and the back body come together. And they're pulling you away. And your head, hands, and legs are reaching over towards your right knee. Let the head go, relax the shoulders. That left shoulder is going to want to participate. Don't let it. And again, the more you can breathe here, the more you can expand, the deeper sensation you're going to get. And slowly unroll. Turning yourself back forward. And then we're going to lean over to the right, but keep the torso square to the knee as if you were sliding down a wall. And then left arm is going to come up, thumb leads, and then fingertips reach. And you can either continue to reach through the fingertips or drop the arm down on the head, or if that becomes too intense, taking the hand up to kind of where the neck and shoulder meet. Again, you're watching for if the body starts to roll forward. I'm going to keep that left shoulder pulled back. Left arm reaches up and it pulls you all the way back up. Taking a breath here. Left arm is going to slide behind your back, reaching for the right hip. We twist to the left, and then we look like someone's had the audacity to interrupt our yoga practice, pulling our chin in towards our occiput and letting our occiput pull us backwards. So we're not dropping the head back, we're tucking the chin in and lifting the chest up, pulling the rib cage to the right. So you'll, because the left hip is pinned down, you're going to feel this in the left waistline. And then bringing yourself up, coming back center, just sitting for a moment, relax the shoulders. Good. And then we're going to unwind the legs into a seated forward fold, just to release both sides of the low back. So sitting with the legs out in front of you, feet flexed, sit up really tall. And then I want you to think about tipping from your pelvis. The pubic bone pushes down, the sitting bones kind of pull back and lift up. The low back pushes forwards, the back of the ribs push forwards. So you go as far forwards as you can, with the chest open, and then relax down, drop the head. Turn your palms up to really relax the shoulders. We'll just take a couple breaths here. Stretching through the spine, and then we're going to do a little bit of core and leg strengthening fun. Rolling up through your spine. We're going to use a block in a second, so go ahead and grab a block if it's not close to you. We don't need it quite yet, but it'll be good to have. You're going to take your hands alongside, externally rotate so your fingertips point out and your thumbs point towards your toes. And I want you to lean forward just ever so slightly so that you can put a little kind of like a kickstand with your hands, and then lean back a bit. So that'll put us pretty upright. All you're going to do here is draw your low belly in towards your low back. So there will be not a rounding in your low back, but a flattening of your low back. Because typically if we're sitting here and we're really working to sit up tall, there's actually a little bit of an arch in the low back. So this is just going to flatten it out essentially. From here, without really putting any weight in the hands, I want you to push your right heel and leg into the floor and lift the left leg up and put it down. Push the left leg into the floor and lift the right leg up and put it down. So left leg lifts and down, right, and down. Left and down, right and down. Left and down, right and down. One more. Left and down, right and down. Now you're going to take your block, bring your feet together, set that block just to the outside of the left leg. So in the same position, we're going to pick the left leg up and cross it to the outside of the block. Pick it up again and bring it back in. Up, out, and down. Up, in, and down. Up, out, down. Up, in, down. Up, out, down. Up, in, down. Grab the block, switch it to the right side. Same thing on the right leg now. We're going to lift it up, out, and down. Up, in, and down. So we're just jumping over the block. Up, out, and down. Up, in, down. Up, out, down. Up, in, down. Up, out, down. Up, in, down. One more. Up, out, and down. Last one. Up, in, and down. Beautiful. Release that block. Come onto your side. And you're going to have, how do we want to do this? Let's do it this way. So knees are going to be pointing along the side of your mat. Left hand under the left shoulder. So we're kind of like in a half plank. All right. Right arm is going to reach up. Right leg is going to reach out. And then we're just going to take a side bend here. So again, as if we're pressed into a wall. So we don't let the chest drop forward. Chest stays open. Lift that right heel up and reach your fingertips down. And then the right arm is going to reach up. The right knee is going to bend. You're going to reach back for that foot. Hug the heel into your hip to start. So we're just stretching open the front of the leg. And then you're going to kick the toes and the hand back. Send the pelvis forwards and open your chest to the sky. And come back. Gently release. Come on down. Swap sides. You start off in that kind of half plank. Left arm up, left leg up. The fingertips reach over. So I'm kicking that outer hip, turning on the outer glute. And then I'm really reaching the left hand down to the floor to open up through this whole rib cage. Should burn like hell. And then that left arm reaches up, bend the knee in, grab hold of the foot. Start off just by hugging the heel into the hip, opening up the front of the thigh a little bit. And then kick the foot and the hand back and away from you. Let the hips push forwards and the heart roll up. Bring it back in, gently release. Come around, and let's drop back into a child's pose. Rolling through your spine, come on up. And let's take downward facing dog. And take a moment to walk through your down dog here. And then you're going to step your right foot forward between the two hands. Drop the left knee down. Sink the hips forward. Think about taking your whole left thigh bone, and it's as if somebody's put their hand right on your hamstring and they're pushing it down and forward. So you want to feel the thigh bone pressing itself towards the mat. The opening up through that quad that we just murdered a little bit with those leg lifts. So this should feel really good. And we're going to take a little bit of a side bend here. So right toes are going to turn to the right side of your mat. Your knee is going to turn to the right side of your mat. You're going to have your left hand under your left shoulder, and you're going to roll onto that outer left hip and sink the left hip down, but really lift through the rib cage so that we're stretching like taffy, the space between the bottom left rib and the left hip. Also a really nice outer glute opener on this right leg. And we're going to lift the hip up, roll everything forward, come up onto the left toes. And then lift the hip, straighten out the right leg, and dive forward over that right leg. Relax your shoulders, relax your head. Pulling the right hip back, send the left hip forward. And then bending the right knee, sweep the arms up. Hug your hips and under, so we're really squeezing the butt, pushing the butt forward, lifting the pubic bone up, so a little bit of like a crunch action happening in the low belly. And then press the pelvis forward and bring the belly, the rib cage, and the heart backwards to tip the heart towards the sky. If this is intense at all on the arms, you can always make a little pillow for the head. But as much as I'm really pushing that left thigh forward, I'm pushing through my right foot to help send the rib cage, the belly, the low back, the upper body as a whole backwards. And we're gonna release the hands, roll down onto the mat, step the right foot back. If you want to take a vinyasa, go ahead, or just roll through your spine, up and back, downward facing dog. Once you get into down dog, relax the shoulders away from the ears. And then we're going to step the left foot forward between the two hands. Right knee drops down, release the foot. And again, we are plugging that whole right thigh bone down and forwards as if somebody was pushing on your hamstring. Stretching into that tissue that we just turned on. And we are going to turn the left toes out, turn the knee out, come onto your right hand, and then roll onto the outer edge of that right foot, dropping the right hip down towards the mat, sinking the hip down as if it was stretching like taffy down towards the floor, away from the rib cage. Really trying to open up that space. And we lift up, rotate everything forward, and then lift the hips up, lengthen out the left leg, dropping the head and the heart down, shoulders relax, left hip pulls back. Then rebend the left knee, rolling up. You're going to press that right thigh bone down and forward, hug the hips under, and then start to pull the belly, low back, rib cage, shoulders, chest, all backwards as we push that through that right leg forward. Arms either come up or take a nice little nap behind the head. And releasing, hands down to the mat. Left foot's going to step back. Take a vinyasa if you'd like, or roll up and back, downward facing dog. And let's do another release for the hip flexor. So you're going to bend your right knee, cross your right foot in front of your left, and to the outside of your yoga mat as far as it'll reach. Push into your toes and then press back through the heel. And that right thigh is going to push into the left thigh and really exaggerate the stretch through the left leg. And if you relax enough through your waistline, you'll feel it all the way up into the left hip. Releasing, bending the right leg again, replace it. And bend the left knee, cross it in front of the right, reach it all the way to the outside of the right side of your mat. As far as you can, push into the toes, press back through the heel, pushing your left thigh into your right thigh. Enjoying that stretch through the back of the leg. And see if you can relax enough in through the waistline and hip to send that stretch up into the hip. Releasing, bring that left leg back. Drop down onto the knees, big toes together, knees wide, pressing back into a wide-kneed child's pose. Drop the head and the chest down towards the floor. Rolling up. So for this last one, you're going to need 2 blocks or 2 objects of the same height that are like 4 inches at least high. I don't have 2 blocks, so I'm going to use 2 foam rolls, stack some books, whatever you got. This is one of my favorite low back and upper thigh openers. I've been obsessed with it lately. It's making me think I need to get 2 decent sized blocks instead of 1 baby block. I tried to bring back my 2 blocks from the States that are like the large blocks, but I had so much shit that I had to fill my pillowcase with clothes and pretend it was my pillow in order to get back to Sweden. Oh. All right, one hand on either object. Hopefully I don't snap a wrist here with these rolling objects. We're essentially just coming into up dog with elevated hands. And when we do this, we reach back through the toes and we pull the shoulders away from the ears and really press the hips down and forward towards the blocks or whatever objects we have. And it's such a nice stretch for the whole low belly, back, hips, quads. And you release the knees down. Come on to all fours and let's just do a couple rounds of cat and cow. Now that we've opened that up. And take this at your own pace. Find the areas that feel extra juicy to you. Pause there, breathe into it. And then we're going to make our way onto our backs for Shavasana. So if you have any support that you need or want for Shavasana today, grab that. Remember that especially if you're having a stressful day, it's always incredibly useful to come into legs up the wall or to bring your legs up onto a chair or a couch, whatever you've got. So if you're feeling stressed, you're jet lagged, you haven't had a good night's sleep, those are really good options to come into. And as you get settled, take a couple of deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. Letting your body surrender deeply into whatever position you're in. Very slowly, I want you to bend one knee and then the other. Feet to the floor, walk the feet together, and then drop the knees open and out to the side. Taking a couple breaths here. Go ahead and roll one knee over to the other and roll onto that side. Slowly press yourself up to seated. Sitting up tall. Coming back to your breath. And bring your hands together at your heart center. Take a second to find something that you're grateful for. Thank you so much for moving and grooving with me today. Namaste.